Hey, what's going on, guys? So I finished up the Dukono Pro video, and in that video I was talking about a couple of the comparisons that I saw to the Volcano, being that it's from the same factory, and then also how I felt about it compared to the Blackout. So I figured instead of talking about it, I'll show them on video. We'll go over them together and kind of get an overview of them, kind of look at a couple of the differences, and you guys can make your own decision, not based on my own opinion, but with what I show you in this video. This is a $239 vehicle, this is a $279 vehicle, and this is a $229 vehicle. So there's 50 bucks difference between these two, and then there's only 40 bucks difference between these two, and of course 10 bucks between the other two. So out of these already, from what I recommended to people, again, if you're going to upgrade it, this is the way to go. I didn't even really recommend the Blackout, because there was the third option of the Caldera, which I don't have out here for a couple different reasons. But one reason is 3 trucks is pretty much the max I want to do in a video, and this setup I have set up right now fits 3 trucks perfectly. So the Caldera, I think, is the closest competition to what this is right now, but it's also using old technology. Excuse me. It's using old motor and electronics, weaker motor and electronics than later in this, and it doesn't come with a wheelie bar and some other things. So this might ultimately be a little bit better than a Caldera. It's just I have a soft spot for the Caldera because that's been such a solid truck. Even for my customers, there's been like hardly anybody I think that I've even dealt with that have had a bad experience with a Caldera that they didn't get past, or realize it was caused by something else, or maybe they had an issue and they took care of it, like the servo that was a little weak when it came stock. So those are a couple things that I want to address as well. So we might talk about the Caldera a little bit in comparison, but I'm not going to bring it out in this video. So again, forgive me guys, I'm getting a little hoarse here. The weather's changing and it's getting to me, so I'm going to try to get through this without having any kind of major issues. But so we're going to start, take a look at what we can see right now, and one thing will be the ride height. So of the 3, the Dukono Pro does have the higher arc, and that's just from the front. We're just talking skid right now, because it ultimately is higher than all of them because it is raised up in the middle. But we're only talking that front chassis that's going to bang every time you hit a rock or land on it, and that is probably the worst one yet right there. And I got them all raised up almost to a max suspension. Dukono's the best, Blackout is the next, and Volcano. And again, all at the max height ride suspension, which nobody's ever really at. And of course, I recommend putting oil in all 3 of these trucks if you get one of them, because the stock shock oils just really are never enough, especially if you're taking them and jumping and bashing. So again, Dukono Pro, more ride height, more ground clearance, raised chassis down the bottom, which we've talked about. But again, if you're just tuning into this for the first time, I don't want to exclude anybody. It does lift up even more from where the skids sit. Either one of the other trucks do that, so that's definitely a benefit already. Bodies, they all stuck in there. They all feel the same, so they're probably on the same level quality of the bodies nowadays. Blackouts used to be really thin. They definitely addressed that issue and took care of that. Let me look while I'm here. I always like to try bodies on different vehicles. Dukono body on a Blackout actually looks pretty good. I like that. I'm glad I did this. This is nice. Because I'm probably going to do something now with a Blackout with these tires as well, because these tires have a little bit more offset than a stock Blackout tire does. So the rim mounting right here versus about right here is going to push it off from the truck a little bit and give it that a wider stance and a bigger monster truck look. And I really like that body, and it fits this truck better than I actually thought it was going to. I never even planned on doing this. I was just playing around with it. Same thing if you wanted the Dukono Pro Blackout look. Of course, this would sit down more, but they also do make the SUV. And you can get the higher posts and things for the back, since it is an HSP model, to make the SUV mount work without doing anything other than replacing the posts. So that's a nice touch there for your Blackout owners that like that look. You definitely have that option, and the tires, of course, which I'll be marketing and showing them as well, because I think these are going to be a great fit. Might even get some pictures of it when it's all said and done. Get some pictures of it with these tires on it and see what we're looking like. So I might take care of that. Let's get rid of these bodies here. Of course, well, might as well be fair here. The Dukono probably looks just as good on the Volcano. Actually, I'd like it better on the Blackout. I'm sure it'll sit down some, but it does have that raised up monster truck look, so I kind of do like that. But I think with the Blackout, it just sits down a little bit better and looks like it's more meant for it. There's a lot of gap here that I think even the body being set down is going to cover a ton of. And then, of course, Volcano body fits right at home as well. If you like that Volcano look, they do make it clear, and that, I mean, it's a nice look. I like that body on that. I don't like this one as much, unless you like that monster truck raised up look, which on the Volcano, actually looking at it from the side, I kind of do like that look, because it does have that monster truck look. You know, with the shocks going all the way up, you get full view of the shocks, even though this is going to sit down about a quarter inch or so more. That's nice. I do like that, actually. So either way you go, if you have any of these trucks, it looks like the Dukono Pro bodies are going to fit. They have about 3 or 4 different, I think 4 different colors, and then they have the clear as well. So that's something for you guys to look forward to. If you want a new body, you're looking for something that's not too expensive, and you're a Redcat supporter. Of course, this has got the Redcat logos and stuff on it. So if you want to keep it that way, some people do. All right. So I have these things lined up, or at least I did before I started moving stuff. And we're lined up across the rear here. And tire size matters. These tires are a little bit bigger. These tires are a little bit bigger. And these tires are smaller. So with the smaller tires, the Blackout is still slightly longer. With the Volcano, one of the things they did over the time was they put this bucket tray in here, which is great. Not so much for this, because I really don't like it on this. But what I did like is having this option for when you have the aluminum chassis, because this is an aluminum chassis option with this truck. And when you did that, you removed the lip that was on the chassis here for you to be able to keep the battery from sliding this way. So you had to kind of do a strap or something on there to kind of hold it in there. So that's one thing that they definitely have improved in a revision of this truck over the life of that, and I think it comes with the new remote as well now, the new model. But with this truck, it's basically the two of them. They're very similar. They both have the single turnbuckle arms. These ones are a little bit thicker on the Volcano on the top. The A-arms are also wider on the Volcano. Let's take a look at that. Huh. Brand new truck. I don't know what the hell that is. So the arms are girthy wider. Physical width wider, not really necessarily thickness. And these are a little narrower, but seem to be about the same thickness. I don't see any difference in the thickness on those. The raised up chassis is a bonus on this one. Of course, we're looking at this, and it's the flat chassis, which is just basically a skid plate. It's going to get all tore up. No big deal. Happens to all of us. Even my aluminum was all scraped up, but it's just a flat chassis compared to this one. Being raised gives you a little more clearance and things for things that you're trying to get over in the middle, like rocks. If you ever get stuck on a rock and your front wheels are off the ground, you know what I mean. The layout of them is definitely better with the Dukono out of the Volcano for the money. It comes with the wheelie bar, and this one has the option with T-bone. You can get a wheelie bar, but it's not a wheelie bar on the rear. Doesn't really need a wheelie bar, to be fair, unless you're running 3S, which we'll get into the electronics on this. This one is coming 3S ready, so you should be able to pop in a 3S battery, and you'll be able to utilize this wheelie bar right out the box. Not leaving the Blackout out over here. It's the same chassis layout, just a skid. Just a skid, no aluminum upgrade option, and this one does. One thing about the Blackout that I've had the biggest issue with, not myself, but people breaking, is this front piece. Break it right up here by these screws. It's because this bumper's really nothing here. There's really just nothing to this bumper. It's just, you know, again, it's got a good support. I do like the bumper oval support. It's got some more stiffness, and some people were saying that this is supposed to flex after my video. Yes, it is, but not like that. Not so easily. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Whereas this one, it flexes, and it's got some give, but it's not buckling. This one just seems like the angle is making it buckle. Maybe it's supposed to do that. I don't know. It's, I just think it would be a little stiffer. That's all. And of course, the Volcano's is very stiff, but it's also more of a straight out brace that I've snapped before. So I think this one's a little too stiff of the three. But again, the benefit with this, they have T-bones and things. I'm sure a T-bone will be available for this eventually, and there is a T-bone for this. So T-bone has helped with this issue for that front end chassis piece, but like I covered in the unboxing video, this is the only of the three to have a three-part chassis. So it's got this piece. If you smash it and you were to damage any of this, you're just disassembling this from the truck, rebuilding these onto the new skid, and rebuilding it that way. You're not rebuilding your electronics, you're not taking out your spur gear, you're not getting all that back here in the gearbox. You don't have to do any of that. You're just worrying about the issue that you broke, which is a huge benefit to me and anybody that, you know, wrecks and doesn't want to have to take that extra time to do stuff. Anybody that's had a Blackout knows exactly how hard it is to get these A-arms off. There is no there's no like directions to tell you how to get them off, and it literally involves working the arm and just pulling the pin out like a fraction of a millimeter at a time until you can eventually get it out far enough to grab a needle nose pliers. Horrible design. I'm not happy about that at all. It's probably one of the least things I like about the Blackout. Again, I haven't had to do it a ton, but I've done it, and I do more breakdowns, so I have done it actually a little bit more. But I didn't have to do it a ton when I owned one. But doing the breakdowns, I am disassembling these vehicles further down, and that's something I have to do a lot. So I've gotten to the point where it definitely bothers me to have to go through it. I can tell, excuse me. So another revision I'm seeing on the Blackout here that they fixed was the raised shock tower. You can see how raised these are. If you have a Blackout, you'll notice this was a little plate that kind of curved up before. So it's actually, I think they gave a little more room there. It looks like it definitely dips down so they can use this for the XB as well. But this is definitely a raised shock tower. It's definitely a different shock tower than either one of them had prior. So that's something new I'm just noticing. We're giving overall chassis design. We're going to give that to the Dukono Pro. Unless you're looking for an aluminum chassis, then you'll give it to the Volcano, but you're still basically giving yourself a skid then that is like literally I can get my hand, it gets caught right there, whereas I can almost get my forearm, probably more than that if I was at a better angle across. So you got much more ground clearance here. I mean, I don't know how great we can tell here, but you can see this one's definitely the higher by like 1.5 inches to 2 inches in the middle. So again, chassis clearance is going to be this one. Three-piece design is going to be a benefit to this one over either of the other two models so far. Again, my opinion, but just going off of what I'm seeing here. So let's talk. We talked shock tower on this one. This one's not going anywhere. If you flip this truck, the shock tower is nice and sturdy. It's you might bend it, like we've seen things being bent before, but I haven't seen these enough to know if they bend. And it's a solid design, so we're not going to knock this one right now. They don't make an upgrade. This is it. They do have upgrades for this one. They do have upgrades for this one. But from stock, one thing I remember about this truck is, look at this. Now I'm going to do the same pressure here. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to put a finger here. I'm going to put my thumb here. I'm just going to torque it that way, right? I'm going to try to do the exact same pressure and watch the tower flex. I mean, I'm not hardly doing. I feel like I could take this and touch that right now. That's how easy it moves. So, very, very, very huge upgrade recommendation for me is the shock towers. If you ever get a Volcano, or if you have a Volcano right now and you're watching this and you don't have this shock tower upgrade and you've had bent shocks, this is one of the reasons why. Because when this thing's moving so much, these shocks are coming down slamming after a jump, that flexing, and it winds up bending your shock shaft. Usually you'll see it on the back ones, but it can be the front ones as well. Now, we're going to do the same technique. This one does have like a bump out addition things here, so I can't really get my hand in here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it here and do that as well. Now, I'm twisting, it's moving, but what's moving is this. It is that bump out piece that's moving. So I'm going to do it from the top of this, because it's still doing it there. A lot of twist. Alright, now I'm going to try to do it this way since that one isn't. And that's what I was getting at. I'm actually hurting this finger right now trying to press this one where I'm barely even trying on this one. So again, shock tower strength. This is a much better shock tower than this one. It's a bigger shock tower than this one. Doesn't mean it's necessarily better though. This will bend. This feels very solid, and will have some flex and give back where this won't. Once this one bends out of shape, it's stuck. This one will allow it to flex and bend. And again, if we're talking aluminum upgrades, you have an option for this one, you don't for this. But I said it in the unboxing, man. I like these towers. I wouldn't, if I bought this and did anything to it, knowing what I know from here and knowing what I know from here, I probably wouldn't upgrade this right away. If this piece is upgradable, I would probably upgrade it. Whatever this body post holder is, which I don't remember seeing it on there, but I would upgrade this. But this, absolutely. The shocks. These are a little bit bigger bore shocks, plastic caps, plastic bodies. They do make the aluminum upgrades for these. These are full aluminum, but there's 8 of them, so that there is a benefit to that. And I never really had a problem with the suspension. You definitely want to do the oil in them, and they're pretty decent shocks, I guess, and they are adjustable on the Pro model. So, there's nothing really wrong with them. These springs are very soft, and they're just not the greatest shocks, which I haven't had enough experience with these to say if these are the greatest shocks or not. But given the size of these, I know there's plenty of upgrades out there on the market to replace these. These are very tough, in my opinion, in things that I've looked, even for my sons, to replace for anything other than the HSP ones to get a perfect fit. Whether it attaches up here, whether it fits down the arms, whatever it is, it's just been very difficult for me to get replacement shocks for this truck that you knew for sure would fit. A lot of them you can look at online and you just can't really tell until you get them, and then you wind up spending a lot of money for nothing. So shocks is up to people. Again, if you like that look with the monster truck look, and you like that double shock look, it's still a good setup. I'm not going to knock it. Just get yourself a shock towers. Alright, electronics. So they have I think these are the 50 amps. Nope, they've upped them to the 60. It's been like that for a while though. So they are the same ESCs, these two here. So they've actually got this now where this might be 3S ready, because these used to be a 50 amp, and the Blackout used to be a 45. So the Blackout is still, I think, a 50 amp. They might have all went to this 60 amp because it is possible, but they don't have. It's not the same logo on it. So I'm going to say they're not. So this is probably still the 50 amp. I guess I can find out real quick. Nope, right up to a 60 also. Awesome. Good job, Redcat. So this one is a 60 now. And we'll probably, let me get the pin in my mouth. We'll probably handle the 6S. Oh, 6S, listen to me. The 3S, much better than when I was originally doing this video series with this truck, showing how it handled on 3S. So I definitely feel that this is already a better vehicle than what I had out the box, with the shock tower improvements, with the service saver improvement that they made over time, which still isn't as good as the one I sell, but it is a better design than the clip one that was on there originally. They did change out the motor to a different brand, same size, same KV and all, but so they've done improvements on this model since I've owned it that I can't ignore, but it still doesn't take away from my overall feeling of it. Okay, so while we're talking about it though, one of the reasons when I say overall feeling is, like I said, about the chassis, things like that. The tires, very small tires, 0 offsets, so they hug the body, very narrow frame, stuff like that is key when you're looking for bodies, looking for upgrades and things like that you want to change up your truck, change the way it looks, and you're just limited because you can't put a body on that's too wide. If you use any regular 1/10 Pro line or something like that, they're either too small because this is a little bit longer with the way the bumpers and all stick out even further. It's just a little bit longer than some of the 1/10s, or it's just the bodies are too wide. So one way or the other, usually it's very hard to find a body for this, especially the short course model. Now, the XBE model does not have this issue, but this one screw body post system sucks. I mean, it really does. This wears out. It can once it wears out the screw on the top of the diff housing, you pretty much have to either replace the diff housing, throw some JB weld in it, or deal with a loose body post. So I have some DHK body posts that I bring in that mount to the back of here, which I gotta actually check now, but it should, because there's multiple holes. I mount them to the back right here and put my own body posts on here, so it's got the 2 up and down adjustable ones, and it mounts right here. So I do have an option for this that I'm going to be posting soon. I just got to redo and get some pictures now with this new one, because I have pictures, but this is not the same post, so I just got to double check everything. But that's the biggest problem with this, is whereas these are perfect. I got no problem with either one of these. Again, problems with the flex there, but the body posts themselves are probably identical. It just, the holders are different. So, but this style is perfect. You can put the longer post in it, like I said, for the SUV if you want. There is a taller one of these for the SUV, but there is no adjustments. And they show you multiple adjustments here, so I'm guessing you could cut these off and do what you want with these pins, like with drift cars and stuff, but it's still not an adjustable body post. Servos. So this is a 15 kg servo. This one's got the 15 kg servo. This one is a 3 kg. Now, let me check that, because other stuff had changed. Yep, it's a 3 kg. So with all the upgrades that I see them doing, things like this, changing it out, I can't believe they didn't do this for the Pro model. There should be a 15 kg on this Pro model. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. There's no way this should be a 3 kg servo. So downfall, huge. Not a big deal if you got servos laying around, but out the box downfall compared to these two for sure. And so the advantage is still going to be about equal to those as far as servo. KV on the motors. This one is a 3300 kV. This is also a 3300 kV. This is a 50 millimeter motor. This is a 52 millimeter motor. This one is the 50 as well, and it's a 3800. So it's the fastest of the three, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the gearing is a little bit different. This one's a mod 8, this is a mod 6, this is a 17 tooth pinion. This one I think's got the 19 tooth pinion in it. So your gearing is a little bit higher for this one already over this one, so it's going to make up for some of the speed stock. But you should be able to crank this up a little bit more. But I think we're looking at about 50-mile-an-hour trucks here, either one of them, which I already know this one is on 3S. So this one, again, this 60 amp should hold up better for you on 3S, but all the batteries come with stock 2S, so you would have to add a 3S anyway, which gets me to where I'm at with this one. This is an ARR truck. Unless you're buying this for a child or something, you want to keep it slow. It's a 2S platform. If you want to throw one in for them, it's going to be manageable. Probably keep you about 35 miles an hour, almost 40, I would guesstimate. I'll find out here shortly as well. This one was about 37, 38. So, and that's with the 2S battery. As a 3S, I know if it's up over 48. Same thing with this. You're about 50 with this on 3S. So the speeds are going to be very similar between these two because the gearing is the same. So you're looking at probably about 47 miles an hour without touching the spur or pinion or anything along that line, which is plenty fast for an MT of this size. The waterproof receiver box is nice. It's the only one that has it. This one's exposed, and the receiver is actually literally right there. And this one is right on top of the servo. So advantage goes here. The battery straps, huge plus. I could put a Fat Pack 3S in this with no problem. Not going to happen here. Is not going to happen here. So if you have a Fat Pack 3S, you will be able to use it here, no problem. Dukono's got the better sized knuckles, if you ask me, and we'll take them off. We'll take a peek at them here in a minute as well. Alright, so we got the wheels off here, and kind of go over a couple little things here, the differences in what I prefer of these setups, and then also show you the length differences, which we'll go over real quick first. So this gives you a better perspective of the difference in the wheelbase length. There's really not much at all there between these two, because I feel these are basically, I feel this is just a replacement of what this model was. And be honest with you, we'll see if this one sticks around. If the popularity of this truck increases, kind of like the landslide did with the earthquake. The knuckles, I kind of like the knuckles on this truck. I like how they're double, so if this breaks, you can flip it over to this side of the truck and use this part over here, and then take this one off and put it over here, which would still have both sides. So that's a plus. I do like it, and they're the same parts all the way around, which is the same for this. So they did keep that design. The Volcano is not. They're different arms, front and rear, and I think the left and right they're the same. Or no, they are. Their left and right are also. You couldn't flip these and put them around, I don't think. Even if you could, it doesn't matter. You can't just get a pack of arms and use it anywhere on the truck like you can with these two vehicles. So, so that's a plus for over here. The length may or may not be a plus. Like I said, finding bodies sometimes are just a hair too small, where they don't lengthwise, where they don't look right. So that may be a downfall. Whereas this is probably more of a suitable 1/10, like the Proline MT style bodies that we're seeing here with the Proline truck and stuff. You know, about the same size. MT10E, the Proline, the Volcano all seem to have the same body size almost to a degree. Although the Volcano is probably the biggest of the three. So, although how I do like these styles, they're very weak. You know, they tend to, especially when we have the aluminum knuckles, it pops off right here. So this link always pops off for me, I guess because there's no flex here on the knuckles. And what happened before I replaced to the aluminum is sometimes it would break on me. And if it broke to the point where it got right here and exposed that bearing, it was no good no matter what. So every once in a while I get one of the nasty ones that would break on me like that. No big deal though. So I do kind of like the knuckles, but I don't like the thickness of them and what I've learned from them. The hex on this truck, you will not replace this. You will not find anything aluminum to do it without, you know, probably searching or making something work, because the way this pin sits on here, it just it's really weird. It's hard to explain. I just lost that, of course. But it's such a longer stub axle, and it's got an offset to it to add vehicle width, that you almost have to have something very similar to that, because nothing is too deep and it leaves too much of a gap back here between the hub and the pin. So these are standard hexes that you can just go replace almost with any hex you see out there, 12mm, and get the aluminum one. You know, with the right board, HSP. I would stick with HSP. They got enough selection that you don't have to try to venture or guess another model, because just, you know, get your aluminum one and throw it on there. I guess between these two here, you can almost see, I mean, the knuckle, it's not really, it's hard to tell but just by looking at it. But this one's got that, like the bump out. It's got more girth. Like this one's thicker this way. This one's thinner. So that's between these two. This one's a thicker knuckle, and it has more of a solid feel to it. You can also see the stock play. is less. The advantage for that would go to the Dukono then. The shafts are the same thickness here and here. They're both dog bones, all three actually dog bones in the rear and CVA in the front. The shafts are thicker on both these models than they are on the Blackout, which is probably about a half a millimeter difference. Nothing major, but there is a slight thicker shaft. It didn't even show up on my caliper tool, other than the fact that I had to open it to get from this one to put it on here. I had to open it a little bit, and then when I put it back to this one, it moved. But it was just such a minimum difference. My battery was dead, so I was only going. That's why I'm not even breaking it out right now. But that's how I could tell it was thicker. Is the gap difference was different. Let's go over the width of these, I guess. Why we got them out like this. The Dukono Pro actually sticks out just further. So it's definitely Dukono, even though it's got the shorter wheelbase lengthwise, it has a longer wheelbase widthwise. And it also has the deeper offset tires, so the vehicle itself is going to be, probably about 1.5 inches wider than a Blackout. This one's dipping down on me. It started to drop here, but they're about the same. So again, these two are almost identically matched as far as width goes. So that leaves us basically looking at, between the three models, the Blackout having the speed advantage, again, minimum, but a couple miles per hour is a couple miles per hour. These two coming with batteries, albeit 2S, and these have the capability of doing 3S. The battery strap that is here is a huge benefit to me, just having the advantage of putting my fat packs in there. Servo is better on the Blackout and the Dukono, and the electronics, or we're going to call it almost a wash on the two here, because they're the same KV and the same ESC. So you're basically looking at the rest of the vehicle, which is the upgrades that are available for this, the sturdiness of this with the shock tower feel, the addition for the wheelie bar for people that are going to be running 3S, the optional posts that are adjustable, which this one has as well, but huge disadvantage for the flex on that tower. What I'm coming down to is basically what I already kind of knew, and I just wanted to see, and that is the Dukono Pro is the better, for sure, of the three, in my personal opinion. Now, with that being said, though, you're going to have your people that, even with the deals and things aside, just talking $279, that are pushing to get their kid a brushless for Christmas or something like that, and they don't want to spend $300 on a truck. $279, and even discounts that might be available for Black Friday might still put this in a $250 range, that you're now down to like $210 for a Blackout possibly on Black Friday around that time. I don't know what our options are yet, or how far we can go, if it's just going to be open. And if that's the case, then that's what it would be probably about. So just talking holiday time, because that's what's coming up, and put it in perspective, you're going to have your people that want to spend $210 on a vehicle that aren't going to spend $250, because this one's going to come with the battery. They want something that kids can take out of the box, have a good time with, and don't want to start throwing a battery in this and get back up to $300 even with a sale. So you're talking, those people are going to be benefiting between these two vehicles. If we did get into the comparison with these two vehicles here, I would revert you back to the Caldera versus the Blackout video, where I did mention the Volcano as well, but that I think is the better vehicle of these three. After looking at this, kind of going over it with you guys on camera and showing the comparisons of here, remembering what I liked about the Caldera versus these, I'm getting to like this a little bit better than the Caldera as far as the features, ride height, stuff like that. Again, I'm not going to talk performance because I haven't pulled the trigger on this yet. We'll talk more about that after I get a chance to drive it. But for right now, out the box, I'm liking the features. I'm liking the tires. I already think the tires are the best of the three, best of the four, including the Caldera. The stock tires are definitely, in my opinion, better. They have a better feel. They have a better look. So I'm sticking with Dukono, guys. That's my recommendation this holiday. If you need one for your kid, they make it in brushed or brushless. If you want to start out a little bit lower, you can do that. But I'm thinking that this truck, there's nothing that I see on this truck overlooking at either one of these two trucks that puts these two trucks above this truck. With all the things that this truck has a little bit better of, outweighing those. So $40 justified, in my opinion, yes. Just to have the newer technology vehicle and having some of the features that are on this truck, $40 is definitely worth it to me. Is $50 worth it? Again, for me, having owned this truck, yes. Just because I know that the things that we talked about with getting the arms off, things with the stock knuckles, and again, I've upgraded mine. I've had it upgraded, and it was fine. But talking stock for stock, just looking at it, I'm thinking yes. Now again, I'm factoring I have batteries. I'm not looking at like me needing to buy batteries because I don't use these batteries to begin with, and I'm going to be putting 3S batteries in these anyway. So if we're talking 3S, then I'm already buying another battery for this if I don't have it anyway. It no longer makes the battery difference a huge factor. So if you're thinking in that perspective, that's how I look at it, and that may be how you look at it as well. So these 2S batteries might not be anything to you as a child, first vehicle, things like that. Maybe they do. So again, that's why somebody's going to buy this vehicle over the Dukono Pro, is price and value, or being on a budget. That's about it. That's the only reason I would tell you to buy those over this one. And again, revert me back to the Caldera if we're really getting down to these. Alright guys, well that's pretty much what I want to show you. I might end it, I might come back real quick, throw some tires on, show you the Blackout with the Dukono body and Pro, just for my people that follow and might have the other vehicle and want to see it. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, and try to get some runs on this thing, maybe even as early as tomorrow. Now that I got this done and I can get my demo dirty, might go ahead and get it out. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Alright, so here's the Blackout with the Dukono wheels, and as I thought, man, I love them. Great fit, great look. No issue really turning. Looks like you might bite a little bit here. So, but that's nothing that you wouldn't just take this right here and extend out just a little bit. You'll never notice it. It'll never bite. I'll never have an issue. I had to do that with one of mine because there's really no there's no issue. There's no way you can get those hexes extended easily. And again, I think I've seen somebody do it once before, but I've never been able to do it. And all the ones I've tried never worked. I don't have these wheels all tightened down as well, so they're a little crooked. But slight modification there, you'll be able to put these fatter wheels on. Man, that's a good look. I really do like that look. So, I found one thing I missed talking about all the other trucks too. I absolutely hate the Blackout body posts, which I did mention about the other piece, but I hate the square factor. You almost got to nail it, perfectly to get it to fall into hole. And it's just frustrating. It's not a round tip like some of the other ones here. Alright, so here's the Dukono. This one's not going to sit right down on it perfectly. Let's see if I can get it close here. Alright, Dukono body. Seems like you could push this back just a hair if you wanted it to. Just like that. And you have no clearance issues. Now, I say that. You might want to try my DHK post though, because unless you're going to chop some of this fender out here, these tires might hit. Now the stock tires with this are going to be fine because we already put that on there and saw that. So this body with the stock tires, or maybe like the Volcano tires, these tires are pretty deep, and you can see on the inside there's a lot of tire here from the other side of the hex, whereas some of the tires, like the Volcano tires, are going to stick out a little further away from the body, and you're not going to have this much of an issue. But the look is awesome on this truck. Even if you put the Blackout tires on it, or whatever tires you're comfortable with on the Blackout, the bodies themselves aren't drastic in width difference. But it is enough that it would bite, and it might cause you to chisel a little bit out there. But so I just wanted to show that. I mean, it's a good look. Again, you know, anybody wanting to do it, you might just have to modify a couple little things or try something different, and I'll see if I can't do one up if it works out, and do the posts that I sell. That way I can show them and give you guys an option on that. But that's where we're at, guys. Dukono Pro, man, better of the three in my opinion. Thanks for watching.